What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down some of the best gym exercises you guys can do to avoid getting knee injuries. Let's get started. But before we get into this video, fellas, we are going to be traveling out to 10 different states across the country for 2-day-long QB and wide receiver training camps for the remainder of 2023. Next up on our camp tour, we're going to be coming out to Virginia, then we're going to be heading out to St. Louis, Missouri, Honolulu, Hawaii, Boston, Massachusetts, Cleveland, Ohio, Austin, Texas, Newark, New Jersey, Seattle, Washington, Denver, Colorado, and Los Angeles, California. So if you guys are local to any one of those cities and would like to get some work in with myself and my staff of coaches for 2 whole days, check out that very first link in the description below. We'd love to have all of you out to our 2-day-long off-season camp. So very first link in that description below. Let's get back to this video. All right, guys, so when it comes to getting injured on cuts, with so many, wide receivers, just football players in general, they do not know how to cut properly. They do not have the proper leg strength in order to make a good cut, and that's what this first exercise is going to cover. So we're going to be giving you probably 4 or 5 different exercises that you guys can do and add to your routine. It's going to help you athletically, but also help you prevent injury. So let's say, for example, you're running a route, and let's say you have to snap down on a dime, right? So that's everybody's biggest fear when it comes to getting injured on cuts, is that, oh, well, coach, I'm going to run full speed and then I'm going to cut on a dime, but I'm going to tear my ACL. That's the favorite phrase that I always hear in the comment sections. Everybody loves to say that because they're afraid and they don't know how to actually properly cut. When you see the top guys in the NFL do it, they didn't just roll out of bed and go cut on a dime and snap down. Jerry Jeudy didn't just roll out of bed one day and decide he's going to move like that. He's done different exercises, different drills to build that stability, that leg strength, which allows him to make those types of cuts. So when guys will snap down, they'll be running full speed onto a route, and when they go to break, like let's say I'm running a comeback route, for example, I'm about to make a break on a comeback, guys will drop, but they will not simply drop their butt low enough. They will try to break and they will almost have a leg extended. They'll bend at their waist, they'll think they're getting low, but they never actually drop their butt down. But when guys will drop their butt down, they are weak in this position. So again, when you're moving at a high speed and you're weak in a certain position, like this snap down position that we want to try to get to, that's more risk for injury, because again, when you're moving at a high speed and you're trying to cut like that, that's a higher risk for injury, obviously, right? So this exercise helps with that. So this is going to be called a heel elevated squat. So you guys are literally going to be here. You put your heels on the top of a weighted plate, maybe like a very small cinder block, if you will, something that's going to elevate your heels. And you are not allowed to let your knees go past your toes. What you're going to do, you can do this with a barbell. I recommend probably like a kettlebell, but you're going to squat down and not let your knees go past your toes, because when you do that and your knees don't go past your toes, what do you have to do? You have to drop your butt down. And when you drop your butt down, that puts you in that position. You're probably going to feel it more in your legs, obviously, too. But when you drop your butt down, that's exactly where we need to be at a break. I want to be able to drop my butt down and have strength in this position, not have my knees go over my toes and drift forward, which is more likely for injury because I'm not sitting my hips down. So again, that's a great exercise. That heel elevated squat is great to help you guys prevent all knee injuries. All right, guys, this next exercise is going to help you prevent injury on cuts. Is going to be something called a single leg box fall. So this is pretty much just working on your foot strike and you being able to absorb force when you guys are breaking, whether it's on a single cut, whether it's when you're snapping down at the top of the route, whatever it might be, but it works on that foot strike. So where a lot of guys injure themselves, and I'm sure all of you have probably seen those different injuries from those 2 Alabama wide receivers, right? You got Mechie, Jamison Williams a couple years ago when they tore their ACL, or Odell in the Super Bowl 2 years ago when they struck the ground. I highly recommend you guys search up those injuries just to see how their foot strike happened. Now, again, you never wish injury on people. You never hope that, oh, they're doing this, they're going to get injured. But, things happen. And when you're moving at such a high speed like all of those guys have, and you strike the ground with your heel first, because when your heel hits the ground first, what ends up happening is your toe snaps down, and that can cause that extension with your leg. And so many wide receivers cut on their heels first without even them realizing it, because it's such a bad habit. Now listen, when you're running full speed and you start to put your heel in the grass, yeah, that's going to slow you down, but all it takes is one step outside of your frame and that leg could extend, that leg could snap out, and you could hurt your knee or just hurt yourself in general, right? So we got to make sure that we are striking the ground on that ball of my foot. And guess what? When you're on that ball of the foot, that's just like that heel elevated squat. You have to drop your butt down if you want to stop yourself. A lot of guys will try to cut, they'll be on the ball of their foot, but they don't actually drop their butt and they just take a bunch of choppy steps. So it's a tie-in, right? But you got to work on building a good habit with that foot strike. So that's what this drill works on. So you're going to stand up here. You're literally going to stand on top of this box or a bench or whatever you're going to do. I recommend doing this on a softer surface, maybe like a carpet or some kind of padding. You're going to fall and try to land on that ball of your foot and stick the fall. That probably wasn't the best fall I could give you guys. I'll do that again one more time. You want to try to stick it, you fall, and land on the ball of that foot. You do not want to go heel toe. It's going to hurt, especially when you're falling from a distance like this. But when you land on the ball of your foot, you're absorbing that force and you're building a good habit of having that correct foot strike, which is honestly what it comes down to when you injure yourself on a cut. So those box falls, single leg box falls, you could do it with 2 legs as well. That's a great drill or a great exercise to help you guys avoid injuries on cuts. All right, guys, so this next exercise is going to be another great exercise to work on that foot strike. You can never get enough work on your foot strike. A lot of times wide receivers, athletes, quarterbacks, whoever it is, anybody that plays football, they'll do these separate drills like that box fall that we just did or this drill that I'm about to show. And, you know, maybe you don't see the benefit of it. But when you go out onto the field, without even noticing the benefit of it, you'll reap the benefits, I should say. Like, especially when I played, like, you know, we would do all the explosive lifts in the gym. It'd be fun. You know, you're trying to compete with guys. You know, you're doing power cleans, push jerk, you know, snatch, all those exercises. Now, do I recommend those for every position like quarterbacks? Maybe not with the stuff over your head, but they had us doing it anyways, right? It's fun to compete. You know, you're trying to move a lot of weight around, but I always thought like, man, like this isn't helping me get bigger. Like, what am I doing this for? And it's all for explosiveness on the field, right? So doing these little things to work on your ankle stability, your knee stability, your foot strike, it's building muscle memory. So when you guys actually get onto the field and make a cut, number one, you're strong in that cut position to make yourself explosive and get out of the break quickly. But number two, it's safe. You're comfortable in that position, and that's why we have to rep out these drills. Because again, you can't go out to the field every day and run 1,000 routes. You're going to be so dead tired the next day. You're not going to want to do it the next day. Your body's not going to have time to recover. You're going to be constantly tearing down your muscles. But you can do little exercises like this and stack reps that apply to on-field stuff. So this drill, all you're going to be doing is you're going to stand on your right foot, and we are going to just jump to the middle of this plate and then jump back off. But it's going to be rapid fire. And the entire time you're going to be on that ball of the foot. This is great for ankle stability and obviously explosion in and out of the cuts. You're going to jump on, jump off, jump on, jump off, jump on, jump off. And you were trying to land in the middle of this plate or middle of like a small box wherever you're jumping, but we're working on that foot strike and that burst off of there. So again, great ankle, I guess you could say warm up, great for ankle stability, and great for foot strike. And all of those things will help you guys avoid injuries on cuts. All right, guys, so now this is something that not a lot of people talk about that helps them avoid injuries, and that is going to be stretching. So stretching is one of those things where guys, like, you know, they neglect it, they're lazy with it, and honestly, it's just pure laziness, if I'm being completely honest. You should be stretching 30 minutes every night before you go to bed, and you will see a big difference with the way you're able to change direction, get in and out of breaks, and ultimately your speed, because your stride will increase and you'll be able to actually drive your knees up. Now, besides the point, we're talking about injuries, right? So injuries happen a lot of times, especially on breaks where guys have to drop their hips into a break or snap down on a route, whatever it might be, because guys do not sit their butt down and get low enough. Now, I could have you guys do the heel elevated squats, the box falls, all of that stuff, but if your hips are not able to actually get low because you are stiff, and I see a ton of receivers, we come across a lot of receivers, a lot of different athletes, and so many guys have stiff hips, and simply just they don't stretch, they don't do any mobility work. And I'm going to give you 3 stretches that you can do here in a second. But when you guys are running a route full speed and you guys try to break, or you guys are running with the ball and you try to make a cut and you don't actually sit your butt down, you just cut and you're maybe bending at your waist, you're putting so much pressure on your knee, your ankle. And a lot of times people think like, oh, my knee's hurting, my ankle's hurting, but really maybe the source of the problem is my hips, right? So these stretches can help. So number 1, this is a stretch I got from a wrestling coach, and it's pretty much just a basic stretch, but I'm going to tell you right now, it hurts if you have never done this the first time. But what you're going to do is you're going to go up with your knee, out, and kick. And you're going to try to straighten the leg before it gets down to the ground. You're going to probably hear a pop, but trust me, this is one of the best things that you guys can do, and it's going to hurt. That's completely normal. So again, you go up, you go out, and you kick down. Up, out, kick down. And that's a great stretch to warm up your hips. Now, the second one is going to be something called a duck walk. So a duck walk, this is kind of a funny one. You kind of look like an idiot when you do this, but you're pretty much going to be down in like a squatted position, and you're just going to push right, left, right, left, right, left, and you're just gonna push back and forth and lean with your hips. Probably also going to hurt, but again, great exercise to loosen up those hips. And then last but not least, a sumo squat. So you're gonna be here, feet are gonna be pretty wide outside your shoulders. You're gonna squat down, and you're gonna take the elbows and press out on your knees and try to straighten your back. If you have a partner, have them put their knee in the middle of your back and shoot your hips forward. This is also going to hurt, but a great exercise nonetheless to loosen up your hips and help you guys get smoother cuts, which will prevent injury. All right, guys, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions at all, don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section below. We always appreciate the feedback. It's always great to hear from you guys. And again, if you guys would like maybe a stretch routine that you guys can do for your hips like we talked about, leave that in the comment section below. We'll be happy to send you a free one. And also, fellas, if you want to come out and get some work in with us in 10 different states this offseason for 2-day-long QB and wide receiver camps, check out that very first link in the description below. We'd love to have you out there. I'll see you guys next time.